This is the fight game. He's Icewater, Puma. So we're going to be talking about some of the boxing matches coming up and then some of the UFC fights that happened over the weekend. The first fight we want to talk about is the Canelo Alvarez Triple G fight coming up this weekend. I'm really not interested, but I gotta watch. It's getting closer, and closer it gets to it, I'm like, okay, maybe Triple G has something special this fight to kind of say, you know what, we're not going to the cards. This is my last hurrah. I need to take this guy out.
Yeah, and that's why I think a lot of people are going to tune in simply because of the fact that they want to see does Triple G have that magic left. Kind of when you watch Pacquiao fight, you wanted to see does he still have it when he beat Keith Thurman, but then he came back and he just looked kind of older this next fight. And I still believe that Canelo Alvarez team purposely waited for Triple G to get older.
I agree.
I believe that, and now he's like 40 plus or 40, and now it's perfect. So Canelo believes he can just flat out beat him now. But you got to watch out for Triple G because Triple G still is a crafty fighter and he can hurt you. But I think Canelo in his mind believes like, you know what? He old dude now, I can get him. So with that being said, it's gonna take a special yeoman's effort for Triple G. I'm not sure if he just has it because he can look slow at times, been able to get hit a lot, but then again, never count him out. So for that reason alone, what might happen, what could happen, the possibility will have me tuning in.
Yeah, it seems like Canelo and their camp know that this is the money fight. This is the fight that people talk about the most. The two previous fights, you have the debate whether or not he even won or Triple G won. You have people who say he didn't win those fights. Me, in particular, I say he didn't win these fights, and that he's kind of milking it for the money at this particular time. But this is during Mexican independence week and day. So I can see why this fight is taking place, and this should be a really good battle. I'm rooting for Triple G. I've always rooted for Triple G in his fights. I just wish it didn't. He didn't let it go to the scorecard. Your son is fighting on Friday the 23rd. Shakir Stevenson. What do you think about that particular fight?
Yeah, I think he just wants to continue to get sharper, right? It's a legit opponent, right? But I think he's trying to be sharp, trying to be better because sooner or later, I think you're going to see him moving up to like 135, probably secure those belts at 130, 135, start sniffing around and seeing who's available and kind of showing them that he's the real deal because you got a lot of live possibilities out there for him at 135, even if he decides to go to 140. But there are a lot of live dogs at 135, a lot of people that may be coming for him because they think his power may not move up with him. But I'm really excited. I don't have a problem the way that they're taking him one fight at a time because a lot of those guys up at 135 and 140, they're playing games. They're not ready for it. So he can take his time. I mean, he's no rush, but I'm gonna keep watching him, and sooner or later, I would love to see him fight a fight at 135 and 23. Just kind of, dip his toe in to see what's going on. But yeah, I think he's gonna do well. He's always focused. I think it's back home. Is it back home in New Jersey?
Yes, it's in New Jersey. He'll be in front of a home crowd. This is a guy, Brazilian dude, that's no joke. Is a little bit taller than him, may have the reach on him a little bit. So I'm interested in seeing his skills. Speaking of Shakur Stevenson, his skills and how he handles this tough fighter. He said what I like about him is that he doesn't fight cupcakes. He goes up and fights guys that are going to make him better, and some guys that could give him a run for his money and possibly beat him. Anything can happen in that ring, and so that's what I really like about him. He's not afraid to get in there with some fighters that could possibly hand him the business. So he's taking on this particular fighter, and I'm going to be tuned in. I think it's on ESPN that night on Friday. And then you have the fight on Saturday with Mauricio Lara. And I always liked Lara and always thought that he should be a little farther than he is, but he took a couple of losses that kind of set him back. And so, what do you think about this fight against Lee Wood?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an opportunity for Lara to kind of get back, right? Get back up to where he needs to be. Sometimes you need those fights. So you'll fight a guy that you can't take him for granted, but you just need to have a good fight to get some action and feel good about what you're doing and get back into your style and your rhythm as you prepare to try to get back, climb back up the ladder. But I think this would be a good opportunity for him to do that. But again, you cannot be so lackadaisical that you lose an opportunity because you see a lot of underdogs now that are knocking people out in UFC and also in boxing. So you have to be prepared, come and be the professional that you are, and we'll see what Lara does when he steps into the ring.
All right, let's go to the MMA. And the UFC last week had UFC, I believe, 279, and our boy Nate Diaz fought, and he was Nate Diaz. He was clowning around the ring. When it was time to get the business, to get the submission, he did it. He is one of the most unorthodox fighters that I've ever seen, but he makes it work for him. And you could tell the fighters had a lot of respect for each other after the fight. And that Nate Diaz is another story with our boy Anderson Silva, who's fighting Jake Paul. And so I kind of see that Nate Diaz is going to go that same route. That's where the money is with fighting the Paul brothers. Let's stick with Nate Diaz, the last fight. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, what's ironic about that was initially Nate Diaz was supposed to fight a larger guy, right? That's undefeated and it's supposed to be a hell of a fight. In fact, he was the major underdog, but the guy, I can't call his name, but this Hufston or something. Mm-hmm. He did not make weight.
I think that was on purpose.
I can see that he did not make weight, and therefore he fought somebody else prior to that, and they made Nate Diaz, the headliner. Mm-hmm. So, and the fighter that Nate Diaz ended up defeating, it's a fight that a lot of people wanted to see because they're two guys that bang, and they were really congratulating one another at the end. They really gave you a good show. So this was Nate Diaz's last contract under the UFC, banner, and he's now saying that what I like is the way he was doing it, and everybody, he got a lot of love going out that building. Even Dana White was like, you know what, whatever you're gonna do, Nate, you always got a home here. Y'all like, Dana like, because shortly thereafter, the one thing we've been talking about forever, they're going to be 79 when they do it. Conor McGregor said, well, we're going to fight, right? Again, one more time. And I'm like, man, but I'll still watch it if they get in the ring. But no, Nate Diaz kind of hinted that he possibly could be moving on to box a little bit too. And normally, like you said, I talk about this strictly entertainment. I'm not for all that. And the Jake Paul stuff, I think, can be a little bit more watched and maybe not maybe more big time wrestling or WWE than it is real.
Yeah.
But I will say this. They probably paying off a lot of people like Anderson Silva or whatever. But you can't pay Nate Diaz enough money.
Yeah.
You cannot pay Nate Diaz enough cash. I think he'll go in there and go, yeah, man, I'll lay down.
Yeah.
He can't help himself.
He's part of that jiu-jitsu Gracie camp. That's not in the value system of that.
Yeah, he can't help himself. Be like, yeah, all right. And then he get in there. But then you're supposed to fall down in 3. He's like, I told you I ain't falling down, he cussed. I ain't doing nothing. You can have your money. I've been waiting to knock this mother. I love him, man. I love Nate Diaz. He's so bizarre and wild, but you just gotta. I mean, he is who he is.
Yeah, you hear so many cool stories about Nate Diaz, and you said it a lot about, just want to hang out and have beers with him, and I do too. He's just like one of the realest cats in the fight game, and you appreciate guys like that who, they don't come with the pageantry or all that other stuff. They're just real. They're from the hood, and sometimes you just need to see somebody look like you, sound like you, and that you used to being around. Just forget the protocol, forget the professionalism. I'm gonna be real, and that's what you love to see about Nate Diaz and some of the stuff he does for his stable is really incredible. Looking out for them as well as looking out for himself. He just reeled down. That's what you like, down like 4 flat tires, as my Pete's would say. So let's go to the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight. I know you don't like to talk about these fights, but it's happening. And so, do you think Anderson Silva will be on the take with this fight? Because the last fight, to me, the fighter was on the take. He gave him a little signal to go down and punched him, and that was it. And so I don't see Jake Paul kind of setting up this stuff to lose and then lose his audience and then lose money in the process. I think it's like P.T. Barnum. There's something for everybody in this. But can you see Anderson Silva kind of like putting his reputation up and then kind of just dousing gasoline and fire on it and just burning it up with this potential loss to Jake Paul?
At first I said no, until I found out that they actually signed the fight. And I'm going like, man, he must have gave him a lot of coin, bro. He must have offered him a lot of money. And let's be real, Anderson Silva, you mentioned about his legacy. His legacy would never be tarnished. You might think at the end he was kind of clowning like Jordan with the Wizards, right? You can say what you want to, but everybody knew that was a rap. But you can try to clown him, but I think his legacy stands on its own. If he can make some money. Also, too, kudos, if nothing else, kudos to Paul for securing this, bro. Because if nothing else, he's a hell of a marketer. People watch it and everybody gonna tune in because you got Anderson Silva. I mean, how could you not watch that? So imagine this. Do you realize how much money it's gonna take to get Anderson Silva in the ring with this dude?
Yeah.
Even if it's a boxing match, but you know how much money? This is Anderson Silva, bro.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying, some way in my heart, I don't trust it. I don't trust it because you're getting one of the legendary fighters of the game.
Right.
And then why would you do this to tarnish your record if it goes the way the last fight went? This guy, Jake Paul, to me, can't fight. Can't fight, not a fighter, but has made a name and a brand that people follow, and he's making a lot of money, and he's making other people lots of money.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I think the main thing is it's a boxing match, okay? It's not UFC. It's a boxing match. I'm not sure if Anderson Silva believes that this guy can hurt him. They probably got a signal, whatever it is. But
don't hit me. Don't hurt me right now.
But too, and one of the things I thought was hilarious is when Floyd Mayweather fought the other Paul brother. If you watch their fight, the guy saying that Floyd didn't pay him yet or whatever, but that's neither here nor there. But there are opportunities where Floyd had hit him and really hurt him. And you can watch where he's just leaning on Floyd, just hugging him, holding him up like he's ready to go. And I think you see that. He just carried him. And Floyd said afterwards, yo, I'm in here to entertain, bro. I'm not even trying to be a real boxer anymore. And I think there are several times they could have knocked him out. But that's how that money goes. That's why I said, as much as I'm disturbed a little bit by these little janky bouts that the Paul brothers are putting on, I also, on the other hand, got to give Jake Paul just kudos on the as far as the promotion. And then you got to think about this what was women fighters, that he set that whole thing up with her and to have that beautiful night at Madison Square Garden, the Barclays Center, Madison Square Garden, beautiful night, sold out, man. So he's a hell of a marketer. He can't do nothing else. He can market the hell out of something. Is he gonna beat anybody? I can't really take it serious, but I used to watch wrestling too, so
yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Before we get to the janky fights with ex-football players and NBA players, we'd be remiss with not mentioning about Clarissa Shields. Fight was postponed. Any thoughts of that?
Drinking. Miss Shields was really fired up to fight Savannah Marshall because they got a grudge match going on and whatnot. And I only say that when you have to wait as a fighter, when you're all fired up and you cut weight and whatnot, and you're changing your diet and you're ready to, you get to the point where you're ready to fight again, to have that fight postponed like 4 weeks, I wonder if it's going to have any effect on Shields or Marshall. Because when you're prepared to get in the ring and go, it's all systems go. Now you got to pull back and try to maintain what you have. And you're antsy because you already told yourself in your mind, we're supposed to be fighting on this day.
Yeah.
you pull back and go, damn, now it's postponed.
Yeah. So yeah, that clock you have, and you're ready to set it off during that day. I'm looking forward to it too, because I believe this boxer had beat her
Yeah.
in the past. So I'm looking to see what, the challenge of this. But then you had Lavon Bell and Adrian Peterson. Then you had Swaggy P in his fight. I don't know if you saw these fights. I saw clips of the fight because you can't call them really fighting. And one of my cousins texted me and said, remember when Charles Barkley said basketball players couldn't fight? And he's like, I present Exhibit A, Swaggy P. And so you had Lavon Bell, where AP just fell for one of the oldest fakes in fighting. I'm going sneaky with my left, and here comes the right. And hey, they look good. They look like they were in shape, but boxers, no.
Put your hands up, bro. That's the first thing. Dude, who does that? First thing they tell you, protect yourself at all times. Put your hands up. We'll worry about the midsection later. Put your hands up. First thing you got to put, don't let me hit inside the guard. Put your hands up. Man, that was bad. And I don't know. It's when you see these fighters like that, I'm sitting there going like, come on. And Swaggy P, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they never learned a lesson from Nate Robinson. They never learned a lesson.
Swaggy P, how you gonna come in there, man, and not in shape? You look like you about 47 years old.
You look like somebody's granddaddy.
Yeah, granddad by, hey, come here. And then you talk about he won. If one person he could knock out, it'd be Russell, D'Angelo Russell. I was like, man, you couldn't even, if you ran a race, you couldn't catch D'Angelo Russell.
But why do boxers or football players and basketball players want to go into boxing? I never understood that. Like, this is not your first sport. You had some success in another sport. Why go to boxing?
Well, think about it this way. Most people believe when you are a boxer that you're tough, right? Mm-hmm. Football players always believe they're tough because it's a violent sport. There are some very physical basketball players too that think that they can be physical. But this is not jiu-jitsu, this is not wrestling, this is not grappling, this is boxing. And even though you might have those abilities on the football field, for them, boxing is an art, right? Yeah. From the jab to the left hook or whatever, it is an art. And when you have, knowing that it's an art, you just can't come in there. It takes timing, it takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of repetition, it takes footwork, it takes a lot of things, feedback in order to, these guys that are great at boxing, it took them years to develop their style, get everything together. Mm-hmm. And you're just gonna fall into this somewhere, thinking you're just gonna start knocking people out like Mike Tyson. You are sadly damn mistaken. You mostly see them guys too, like, what was a couple guys fought, dude said, I had one great fight and I'm not hurt, but he said, look, I'm done. I think it was what was it, Darren Williams?
Yeah, I remember seeing that fight. Yeah,
he won that fight and he like, you gonna fight again? He's like, hell no. I appreciated that. I came here, I got to win.
I'm gonna go out on top. One of them.
He's like, this is hard as hell. And when you realize it, that you got the time you get in the gym, think about how many guys get in the gym, get prepared for the fight to get knocked the hell out.
Right.
All that running, all the weeks, all the training, all of the hype, and you get in there, boom, down the drain. How do you come back from that? That's the part I don't understand. I mean, that's why you see guys take a long time off. Like, I'm really surprised. I think that's why I understood the frustration and what Deontay Wilder was going through after he lost the way he did. He literally just needed to get the hell away from boxing.
Yeah.
I really believe that because he was devastated the way he lost to Tyson Fury.
That's true. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and this is the Fight Game.